This week we're going to look at solving one-step equations and solving two-step equations. One-step equations hopefully look pretty familiar to you as they're something that you have looked at in previous years. What we need to remember is that we're doing opposite operations to move numbers or variables to the opposite side of the equal sign. So we're solving for a certain variable and getting that by itself. So when you see multiplication, the opposite operation of that is going to be division. If you see division, opposite of that is multiplication. If you see addition, the opposite of that is to subtract. And if you see subtraction, the opposite of that is to do adding. So you're doing the opposite to move something from one side of the equal sign to the other. So we've got 4 steps that we're going to look at doing with solving these equations. First, we're going to find the variable that we're trying to solve for. Second, we need to figure out what do we need to do to move to get that variable alone. 3, what is the opposite operation that is happening? And then 4, move what you need to get rid of to the other side using the opposite operation. So let's look at this with examples. So our first example is y plus 2 equals 6. So we're going to solve for the variable y, because that's our only variable. So we want to get this all by itself and move everything else to the other side. So our next thing that we need to move is our positive 2, our plus 2. So we're looking at the operation that's currently happening is plus, and the opposite of that is going to be subtraction. So I'm going to write a minus sign, and I'm going to subtract 2. And what we have to remember is whatever we do on one side of the equal sign, we have to do on the other side. So I'm also going to subtract 2 on this side. So now after I do that, my 2's have canceled out, and I'm just left with y on the left side. And on the right side, I have 6 minus 2 is just going to give me 4. So my answer would be y equals 4. Looking at a second example, we have negative 4 plus y equals negative 7. Again, we are solving for y. We want to keep y here and move everything else. So the only other thing that's on the same side of y is negative 4. So our operation that's happening right now is a minus sign. So the opposite of minus is plus, and our number is 4. And what I do on one side, I have to do on the other side. So negative 4 plus 4 is going to cancel out, and we just have y. And over here, I have negative 7 plus 4 is going to give me negative 3. Now, y is alone, and that's what we're looking for, so our answer is just y equals negative 3. This example, 4 and y are stuck together, and what we need to remember is that when a number is stuck to a variable like this, we have multiplication happening between them. So to undo multiplication, the opposite of that is going to be division. So on both sides, I'm going to divide by 4, by my number that's attached to y. So then the 4's are going to cancel out, and I'm just going to be left with y equals, now 3 divided by 4, I'm going to leave that as a fraction. What I can do is I can go to Desmos and type that in and make sure it's simplified, which it is. So we're just going to leave this as y equals 3 over 4. It's okay to have fractions as our answers. This one looks a little different. We've got v divided by 6. It kind of looks like a fraction instead of a division problem. But what we're looking at is v is our letter we want alone, so 6 is on that same side with it, and we have v divided by 6, so the opposite of divide is to multiply. So I'm going to multiply by 6 on both sides. So that way my numbers cancel each other out, and I'm just left with v equals, and 10 times 6, if I type that in Desmos, it's going to give me 60. Now v is alone, so we're at our final answer. So now take a second, and I want you to try and complete these two problems. On number 1, you are solving for m, so try and get m by itself. Number 2, you are solving for k, so get k by itself. So hopefully when you did this, you would see that m, what's on the same side of m is a negative 14, so we need to move that. So opposite of minus 14 is going to be plus 14. You can do that on both sides. So our 14's go away. And negative 26 plus 14 is going to give me negative 12 equals m. So now m is alone, and then our answer is m equals negative 12. Over here, hopefully you recognize that negative 12k is negative 12 times k. So opposite of that is divide. So we are going to divide both sides by negative 12. So we will get negative 7 equals k. Now our variable is all alone, which is what our goal was. And that's solving one-step equations. Our next video, we're going to look at solving two-step equations.